Hey y'all. So, the last video I left off on was the series that I was doing about domestic violence, and I was getting ready to give you guys tips on how to escape, and I was going to tell you guys the story of how my mom, myself, and my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, he lived with us because his home life wasn't good. So he stayed with us, and but he lived in another room. My mama wasn't having that. We're going to do it. We had to go to a motel, so that's a whole different story. But so yeah, we had moved. We left Moreno Valley. No, we left L.A. Actually Linwood, and we moved to Moreno Valley with my dad. Got a beautiful 4-bedroom house, and I told my mom, I said, he's still gonna be on drugs. And she was like, no, no, they don't have drugs out there. I said, Mom, they have drugs everywhere. Everywhere they have drugs. There's no escaping it. No, 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 he doesn't know anybody, and it's gonna be different. And he told me it's gonna be different, and he gonna do the right thing and all this. So I told her, I said, okay. So during that time, me and my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, we had just found us an apartment in Long Beach that we were getting ready to put money down and go ahead and move and everything like that. So my husband was like, so we still going to Long Beach? So I was like, I can't do it. I said, I can't do it. I said, I cannot leave my mom because I feel like if I leave her, she gonna wind up dead, you know. Um, so he was like, he didn't want to move with us. He didn't want to take that move to Moreno Valley. At the time, it was Sunnymead, because he knew the outcome, and I knew the outcome as well. But I couldn't see myself leaving her and being that far from her that I wasn't there for her, you know. And I was grown, like I was 20, 21, something like that. Anyway, so we moved out here, got the house and everything. Everything was hunky-dory for a little bit, okay? And then sooner or later, he started with the drugs again, okay? I think I'm probably backpedaling with the story, but anyway, this is what happens when I don't write stuff down. So anyway, we moved into the house. Everything was fine, and he was going to work. My mom wasn't working, and so that too is a mistake that a lot of women make, is that they are financially dependent on their spouse. That's why a lot of them don't leave, because they don't have no money of their own, or they have never had a job, and so they don't know what to do, or they went from their mama's house right into being married, in the husband's house. So they've never lived on their own and had that transition, you know, and know how to be single on their own and financially dependent on just themselves. So that is another reason why a lot of women don't leave, as well as fear. And that is one of the fears as well. But anyway, um, so every time I told you guys that every time my dad wanted to get high, he had to make up an excuse. So um, he was sitting in the living room. No, 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 no. He was sitting in the garage, okay? And the music was blasting, okay? And so me and Eddie had came from somewhere, and we didn't have a car. So we was walking, and he's sitting in the garage with the garage door up, and the music is blasting, and he is drinking liquor um, with root beer soda. Okay, that just lets you further know that he wasn't all there. So I come in, and so I really feel like he did it deliberately. Like, I have my prom dress, in heavy duty plastic. So I come through the garage. Hey, Dad, how you doing? Then I see my dress just thrown. So I'm like, oh man, Daddy, what you doing? Don't throw my dress. You spent a lot of money on that dress. What did I say those words for? Because, boom, he came for me. Um, and every time he would come for me, he would come for me to try to beat me up, physically beat me up. And I was like, oh my God, what is the problem? All I said was, don't do my dress like that because, you paid a lot of money for it, and you don't tell me what to do, and who the fuck you think you are, and this is my motherfucking house, and I'll do what the fuck I want in my motherfucking house. And I was like, okay, okay, and my husband, he tried to jump in the middle, to try to hold him back, and was like, man, come on, man, because what you gonna say to somebody when you living in their house, and you don't want to, like, physically try to challenge somebody and you living in their house, but anyway. So I was like, okay, okay, whatever, just, whatever, Daddy, whatever, you know. And next thing I know, he slams into the house, changes clothes, and then slams out, and then he's gone. Okay, so we didn't see him for 3, 4 days, something like that, because he would disappear like that, especially if it was payday. He would disappear and he wouldn't come home until all his money was gone. Okay, he didn't give a fuck if we had any food. He didn't give a fuck if any of the bills got paid. He didn't care. All he knew was he was somewhere getting high, doing crack, you know, and that's all that mattered to him. So when that started happening again, my mom, she started looking for a job. And so she found a job and she started working at that job, okay? But she didn't let my dad know. He had no idea that she had a job, okay? So she was working that job because she worked, I think, the graveyard shift, and she was taking the bus and stuff. And um, so either he would be asleep or either um, he would be gone, because she stopped sleeping in the room with him, and started sleeping upstairs because we have 4 bedroom uh, house with the upstairs downstairs. So she started sleeping upstairs in a different room. Um, so the he didn't know that she had a job. Okay, so she kept working, saved her money, and she bought a car. Okay, but she never brought that car home because she knew from past experience with him and how he did my car. When he got pissed off, he would yank the wires out or he would fuck it up so it wouldn't run anymore. So she she parked her car like 2 blocks away and then would walk home. Okay, so he never knew that we had a car. All right. So then she made up in her mind, and we started going out looking for apartments and stuff. So she found this one apartment in Moreno Valley. So it was on the other side of the 60 freeway. And she just told the lady, she says, look, she says, I don't really have job history. She says, I don't really have a lot of money. Um, she said, I'm just trying to get on my feet, leaving an abusive relationship. And she says, I don't have all the money to move in. She says, but can you work with me? She said, because I will pay on time. She said, but it's going to take me some time to get all the first and last and deposit and stuff. So it was a white lady. So she said, you know what? She said, just give me what you can. She said, and then just, you know, make it up as we go along in the months. She says, still pay your monthly amount that you owe and then add more to it until we can come up with the final balance, you know. So that's what we did. So we put the money down for the apartment and everything. So we set up a plan, okay? The plan was wait until he goes to work and then already have the truck, but park the truck away from the house like we did with her car, and then get the car in there, get the truck in there, and pack up and leave, okay? Now, this how slick we were. We had boxes, we had trash bags, everything packed up, okay? Packed up, but stored in closets, you know, put in different places that he didn't look, you know. A lot of stuff was in my room. A lot of stuff was in Eddie's room, in the closet, packed away. So he never really came upstairs for anything, you know. So, like I said, everything was packed and ready to go. All we had to do was get the truck, put it on the truck, okay? So when she said, all right, coast is clear, so we went around the corner, 2 blocks away, got the truck, and I got the car, and we came to the house and backed that U-Haul up and start filling that sucker up with, you know, with everything that we was taking. So she took the living room furniture, she left the den furniture, she left everything in her bedroom, because she didn't want that, and took all my bedroom furniture and the stuff that was in Eddie's room, and then took the refrigerator, and we left the washer and dryer, and she took just about all the dishes and everything like that, but left him like one pot, one set of utensils, you know, 1 or 2 plates, 1 or 2 cups, and took everything else, okay? And when I tell you that I ain't never moved so fast in all my life, we was moving so fast that my husband, we had a dolly, my husband was loading the refrigerator up on the truck. And so me and my mom was on one side, he on the other side, taking the weight of the refrigerator. And trying to move so fast, the refrigerator kind of fell on him. My mama said, man, she said, I know you probably hurt. She said, but get your ass up and let's get this refrigerator on this fucking truck, because if that crazy man come around this corner and see us moving, he gonna kill all of us. So my husband, he mustered up all his strength, and you know, we helped push it up on there. And so we got the refrigerator on there, we got all the furniture and stuff on there, and we left the keys and everything on the kitchen counter, and left. That was it. We was gone. And so he was looking for, we heard through the grapevine that he was looking for us, okay? And so then we heard through my bestie, her mom and my mom were friends. And so we heard from her that he was threatening us, that he said that he knew I was going to the junior college in Moreno Valley, well, in Riverside at the time, RCC. He knew I was going to that school, so he told her that he was going to lay dead for me in the parking lot, and he was going to shoot me in my kneecaps and this kind of craziness, you know. And oh, I don't even know if I could say. Oh well, I done said it now. But anyway, anyway, and that he was gonna find my mama, and he was gonna, unalive her, and all this stuff. So we took it serious. He made a threat like that, and we took it serious. My mom called the police. The police came. We made a police report and everything. So the police told me, when you go to school, go to the security and tell them what's going on. That way, whenever you walk into your car, that they will walk you, to your car and make sure that nobody's in the parking lot waiting on you. So I did, and the security, they did. They walked me to my car. They made sure I was okay, and then I went on about my business because by that time I had had a car. So uh, that's what happened. No, I didn't have a car at that time. I was using my mom's car. That's right, because she would be asleep because she was doing graveyard. That's right. So I was using her car. So that's what happened, you know. And I tell that story to tell women to be encouraged. If you need to get out, get out, get out, because it's not gonna get better. That person is never gonna change. Whatever is wrong with them, that's their problem. You know, that is their problem. It's not yours. You're not doing nothing wrong. You know, you walking on eggshells. The kids are walking on eggshells. You trying to do everything right, and nothing is going to be enough for them because people like that are just bottomless pits when it comes to emotional connections. They don't have it. They don't have it, and they never will have it, because everything has got to be about them, and how you make their life better. And if you're not doing this, you're not doing that, then you are no good to them. And then they want to talk to you like you got a tail. They want to put their hands on you, like you just their punching bag to hit whenever they get ready. And you just supposed to bow down and kiss their ass. No, nobody has to live like that. And stop putting your children in that position to where they have to live that life with you, okay? Because kids need to be kids for as long as possible, okay? Because this world is already hard enough, and they're going to already walk into real world problems anyway. Anyway, they don't need it in their house, okay? They need to live a happy life, stress-free, drama-free. They should not be having to live where they scared all the time, and you scared to eat, you scared to do this, you scared to do that, because any little thing will set them off, and you never know, because he hits you, if he gonna turn and he gonna hit them. You don't know. Some of them hit everybody in the house. Some of them do, but be encouraged, okay? If you don't have a job, get yourself a job. Start, if you too afraid to get a job, then start putting money aside, little here, little there, but get you enough money together where you can at least buy you a bus ticket, and stop being like controlled by material things. You may live in a nice home, you may drive a nice car and everything like that, but what do you have to do to keep it? You have to let him whoop your ass. You have to let him talk to you any kind of way. You have to let him mistreat your children. That is no way to live. Get out. Get out. And the very first time that they put their hands on you, Put your foot down and do not tolerate it. Walk away. Walk away from them, okay? Because they're not going to change. If they stop hitting you and you because you put up a fuss and you act a fool, and so they don't hit you no more, okay, that's fine. But what else will come in its place? The belittling, the talking to you any kind of way. And sometimes that verbal abuse can be even just as bad as being physically abused. So and never, let me tell you something, never announce to him that you are going to leave. You go on and you play the actress, okay? And you play like you still in love, you know, and everything like that. You do not let on that you leave, okay? And if you have a card, you pretend like you're going to the store, or you pretend like you're going somewhere, and bypass that store, keep on going and disappear. Because sometimes you have to disappear, you know, put things in place in your wherever you end up, that no one knows your address, and it's so in today's age, it's so easy to find people, because of social media and everything like that, and because of people can track your phone and all this. It's a big headache trying to leave someone now, but do it, because life is too short to be living on pins and needles in your own home, and it shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way, and he has a problem, not you, and it's not your job to fix him. He's never going to be fixed because he is broken. He is broken, and there is no fixing him, okay? There is not enough counseling in this world that's going to make him be the person that he's supposed to be, okay? Well, when he's not angry, he's so lovable. No, that is the facade. That angry person, that mean person that calls you everything but a child of God, that person that hits you, and when he is hitting you, he has the face of the devil on him, that is the real person, okay? That is the real person. So, what's the saying? When they show you who they are, believe them. Believe it. That is who they are. Get out. Get out, get out, get out. And like I said, disappear. Disappear. Try to, if you can't leave the city that you in, try to go to the other side of the city. And put stuff in place like we did. Inform the police, we informed the apartment manager and everything. We informed the neighbor. If you see this man, call the police, So anyway, that's what happened. And so we moved into the new apartment. Um, my mom was able to still pay the rent. Me and my husband, we helped, and she kept paying, making extra payments until we got the deposit and everything paid. And so that lady was a godsend. And I'm telling you, if you be honest with people, other women will help you. It could be a stranger. Other people will help you. But you got to let people know what your situation is. And sometimes you got to let family go. Because sometimes it'll be your own family that will tell your husband, boyfriend, or whatever where you are. Because they miserable and their life is fucked up. So they want you to be miserable and fucked up just like them. Okay? Sometimes you gotta cut them people off too. Just cut them off, and disappear. Some people is not meant to be in your life the whole journey. Your whole journey in your life, people gonna come and go. And those may be the people that you have outgrown. Okay? Like you have outgrown getting your ass whooped. Okay? You have outgrown that bullshit and you're not gonna tolerate it no more. Get yourself out and disappear. Because it can be done. Because now they have battered women shelters and they have all this other stuff that I don't even know if they had then. If they did, it wasn't really talked about, you know, uh, because that was in the 80s, you know. Um, Things weren't really talked about. If your husband whipped your ass, like I was telling y'all before, if your husband whipped your ass and you had a black eye, nobody was going to question it. Nobody was going to say, oh my God. They would say it up under their breath and behind your back. But to ask you, was you okay? Do you need help? Do you need assistance? Do you need to get out? Nobody did that back then. It was just accepted. Men, men ruled over you. And that was the bottom line of it. So I say to you again, get out. Get out. Put them people in your rear view mirror. It could be done. So talk to me in the comments, if you know what I'm talking about, if you in that situation. Maybe it's something that someone else in the comments can suggest to you on how to get out safely. Because I'm sure there's all different kind of programs where people, help women with children or just women themselves to leave abusive situations. So I'm sure somebody will have some information that you can use, you know. But the most important thing is to get out and get your babies out, because when you make a change for the betterment of your life, whether it's domestic violence or whether it's you being on drugs or your husband being on drugs or whatever is the dysfunction in the household, when you make a change to stop being dysfunctional and you decide that you want to live a different lifestyle, a different life, then I guarantee you that your children are going to have a much better life because they're going to grow up and be happy and feel secure because they don't have all that fear. They don't have all that fear, that self-consciousness. They don't have all that, and walking on eggshells and all that. They could just be a kid, and that's what you want. You want your child to be able to just be a kid. So I have more stories that I will tell you guys. This is just one of them. I don't know what I'm going to tell y'all next, but I will start. The other thing I'm going to do is I've been finding old stories that I have told on my Facebook about me or about my family, things that were funny. So I will be reading those things to you because, as you can see, the video is long, okay? And I don't know how to talk and make it short. I don't know how to do that. So you're gonna have to just bear with me, and that's just the way it is. It's fine for my YouTube channel, but I will link my YouTube channel, my not my Facebook, but my Instagram, and link my TikTok in the comment section. In the whatever. I'm put it on there somewhere. All right, y'all. All right, so I'm gone. Thank you guys so much for listening. And I'll see you guys again real soon. Bye.